What if Anakin executed Order 65 after Palpatine revealed himself? Let's explore the depths of it in the video.
Good, Anakin, good. Kill him. Kill him now.
Dooku's expression shifts. Gone is the cold mask of the Sith Lord.
So, this was your real plan after all this time?
Anakin hesitates. Palpatine's expression tightens slightly.
Using me to start the war, and then controlling this child for your benefit. How intelligent, Chancellor. I must say, I never saw this coming.
Say whatever you want. We won't believe your nonsense.
There is another way. I should have invoked Order 65, had the Senate drag him out of that seat in chains. I didn't. But Anakin, you still can.
Order 65? Enough. He's manipulating you. He always has. Do it. Dooku's final words bleed through clenched teeth.
Look around you, Skywalker. You're not saving the Republic. You're handing it over.
Liar! He brings both blades down, severing Dooku's head. Back on Coruscant, Anakin's nightmares of Padme's death and childbirth drive him to desperation. Then, at the Opera House, Palpatine weaves his dark legend of Darth Plagueis to seduce Anakin's fear of loss. After going to the Chancellor's private office to report on Kenobi engaging General Grievous, the mask was shed. Palpatine proclaimed himself Darth Sidious, Sith Lord. Anakin, stunned and in disbelief, remembers something Dooku said. He sees it now. Dooku was right all along. Anakin flees the office and rides his starfighter to the Jedi Temple, intent on warning the Council. The polished marble floors of the Jedi Temple corridors gleamed under lantern-bright crystal clusters. Yet Anakin's footsteps rang hollow, each echo a reminder of betrayal. His cloak billowed behind him as he sprinted towards the Council wing. Memories of the opera's hushed grandeur were already fading. Only the weight of Palpatine's reveal remained. He burst through the Council antechamber doors without pause. He found Mace Windu at the end of the hall, leaning against a console.
I've just learned a terrible truth. I think Chancellor Palpatine is a Sith Lord.
A Sith Lord?
Yes.
Anakin swallowed, pressing both palms flat against the console to steady himself. He recounted the opera's tale of Darth Plagueis, how Palpatine had spun it to seduce him, and how, in the privacy of that office, the Chancellor had confessed his true nature. He spoke in clipped, urgent bursts, a confession, the holo recording, Palpatine's own voice echoing in the ornate chamber. He did not pause for breath. When he finished, the silence that followed was so complete it seemed to reverberate in the stone itself. Mace studied Anakin for a long heartbeat, his stance lonely and weighty.
You're certain, as I've ever been. Then we must act now. Secure the exits. No one leaves.
Anakin opened his mouth to protest, but the words caught in his throat. The very notion of striking down the Chancellor, even for treason, churned his stomach. Palpatine has been his mentor, his friend, the man who whispered promises of saving Padme. To kill him. Anakin's hand dropped to his belt, where the faint contours of his saber hilt pressed into his palm. He felt a surge of defiance.
Master, please. We can't do this by ourselves.
Mace paused mid-stride, one boot hovering above the polished floor. The masters behind him shifted curiously.
He's a Sith, Skywalker. What do you suggest? Wait? We have to act now. You'll kill him on sight, but we need the Republic's will behind us.
Anakin swallowed again, mind racing. His heart pounded with fierce conviction.
Re-invoke Order 65.
What?
Yes, Order 65. That's what Dooku said. We can use it. We've got a chance. A legal one. What are you saying, Skywalker? Dooku said he should have used Order 65 to bring Palpatine down before I killed him. He said Palpatine will turn on us, that he's evil. I didn't listen. I should have. The Senate must vote. They must declare him unfit. Then the clones have their orders, backed by the full weight of the Republic.
Mace's brow furrowed. He glanced at the ancient pillars, as though seeking counsel from the temple itself.
I see. But delaying risks his escape. We can't afford that. Delay is dangerous, yes. But if we act alone and kill him, we get closer to the dark side ourselves. Judges without trial. I won't bear that blood on my hands. Not like this.
The other three masters exchange uncertain looks. Behind Anakin, the distant clank of holoprojector mechanisms bringing up the council dossiers sounded like a ticking clock. Finally, Mace exhaled, his tension easing into reluctant agreement.
Very well. I trust your judgment, Skywalker. But once the vote is cast, we strike swiftly. Thank you, Master.
Anakin tells Mace Windu and the others that he will go directly to Padme Amidala. As a sitting senator and a respected voice in the chamber, Padme does have the authority to call for an emergency Senate session under Republic law. He inserted the encrypted holo-recording, captured moments ago from the Chancellor's office, into the Council's input port. Palpatine's voice crackled faintly through the speaker, cold and unrepentant. The console beeped acceptance. A moment later, a cascade of acknowledgments peppered across the display. Holobridges opening, Senate chambers lighting up. Chamberlain voices rising in alarm. Mace placed a firm hand on Anakin's shoulder.
You've set the wheels in motion. Now we wait and prepare.
Anakin exhaled, a single breath that tasted of steel and fear. He straightened, squaring his shoulders as the holoprojection flickered to life, sending Palpatine's confession echoing across Coruscant's legislative halls. Behind them, in the shadowed recesses of the council wing, the faint glow of a hidden holotransmitter blinked on. Palpatine knows what's happening, but he will not escape. Not yet. He has other plans. In that charged stillness, Anakin Skywalker realized that the fight for the Republic had become as much a battle for his very soul. And with the Senate's vote now inevitable, the moment of reckoning approached, one that would either purge the darkness or plunge the galaxy deeper into shadow. The Jedi Council wing's holoprojector flared to life, casting a pale blue across the Senate Grand Hall. Senators turned as one, eyes widening at the image forming in the air. Padme Amidala stood at the central podium, her face composed, but her hands trembling slightly on the controls. The thousands of hololinks lit up as chamberlains called for quiet.
Fellow senators, citizens of the Republic, I bring you a voice that must be heard.
Behind her, the projection expanded. Anakin Skywalker appeared beside Mace Windu, his jaw tight, eyes wary but clear. Padme stepped back, and Anakin spoke.
I am Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker. I bring evidence of treason at the highest level of our government. Chancellor Palpatine is a Sith Lord. His war, our war, was orchestrated to place him in absolute power.
Gasps rippled through the Senate. Even loyalist delegates froze. Anakin continued, breath measured.
I invoke Order 65, effective immediately. I call upon the Senate Security Council to declare the Chancellor unfit for office and place him under arrest. A recording has been transmitted to every member of this chamber. I ask you to watch it, then vote.
Behind him, Master Windu remained silent, eyes locked on the camera. The hall erupted in overlapping shouts. Some called for verification, others called for calm, but the transmission cut to the next feed. A chilling holo-recording of Palpatine's private chamber, his voice unmistakable, his words damning.
Senators, you have seen and heard Chancellor Palpatine's confession. No longer can he lead us.
A ripple of shock swept the chamber. Padme closed her eyes for a brief instant, as if steeling herself.
This confession is an act of war against the Republic. A Chancellor who claims the dark side like Dooku did is nothing but a traitor.
From the back row, Senator Croy, a longtime Palpatine ally, rose, fingers drumming the desk.
Doubtless these recordings are theatrical, doctored by the Jedi to seize power. We all know how quickly a lightsaber can be pointed at an innocent man. And what does religious affiliation have to do with this? Is it against the law to be a Sith?
Murmurs of agreement flutter through Croy's supporters, an undercurrent of fear and political loyalty glinting in their eyes.
These are not Jedi-fabricated hollows. Chancellor Palpatine spoke these words himself. On recorded media we verified. Would you risk the Republic on a lie? Regardless of law, the Sith work in deceit and lies. It's their dogma to overthrow one another. Is that who you want running your Republic?
Senator Huell, a member of the Security Council, leaned forward, brow furrowed.
Even if true, removing the Chancellor mid-war risks plunging us into chaos. Do we have the infrastructure to replace him without fracturing the Senate?
Padme's gaze cut across the hall.
A republic that abandons its principles for stability is no republic at all. If we tolerate a Sith Chancellor, what hope do the Outer Rim worlds have?
A young senator, Senator Velis, stood, voice shaking with conviction.
My people on Terrace are still rebuilding after Separatist bombardment. The Republic's ideals are all we have. We can't surrender them now.
Another senator, Senator Orin, countered, folding his arms.
Words ring hollow in a time of war. I need assurances. Who will lead us? Who replaces the Chancellor once he's deposed?
We will convene an emergency vote to appoint an acting Chancellor. Bail Organa has graciously agreed to chair the session. The Republic will not be leaderless. Senators, please cast your ballots. Stand with the Republic, or stand with the Sith.
Voting panels glow to life, silver-robed aides guiding trembling hands. The chamber held its breath as green lights flared first, then red. The count flashed above. 1002, 1157, 1243. A hush, then a final ping.
Final tally. 1,243 ayes, 573 nays. Motion carries. Order 65 enacted.
A thunder of muted cheers and stunned gasps filled the hall. Mace's hologram inclined his head. Padme exhaled, voice trembling with relief and resolve.
We've bought ourselves time. Now we must ensure justice is swift, and the Republic endures. The Senate officially enacts Order 65. Anakin, carry the detention orders. May the Force be with you.
Commander Fox, by the Republic's will, execute Order 65. Detain the Chancellor.
Across the city, garrisons of clone troopers responded. In the corridors outside Palpatine's private residence, doors locked and alarms blared. Troopers sealed every access tunnel, their armor gleaming under emergency lights. The initial flurry of activity sent ripple waves of panic throughout the Senate, but Palpatine's voice was already gone from the dais. He had slipped away under the cover of the Genesis chaos. Deep in the red-lit corridor of the Senate apartments, Palpatine's boots clacked against polished floors as he raced towards his private office. A slim holotransmitter clicked into place beneath his robes. Back in the heart of the Senate, Mace Windu's holoscreen winked out, replaced by a blackout feed. With a blur of motion, Mace reappeared at ground level, accompanied by CC-Teen, Ajen Kalar, and Kit Fisto. They strode down the marble corridor outside Palpatine's chambers, lightsabers humming softly.
On my mark.
An agonizing moment of silence hung between them. Then Mace thrust open the heavy doors. Lightning split the air. Palpatine stood amid the ruin of his office, eyes aflame with dark triumph. He raised both arms, fingers crackling with violet energy. Mace Windu's call rang out as the 4 Jedi Masters burst into Palpatine's private office.
Anakin, I told you it would come to this. I was right. The Jedi are taking over.
The oppression of the Sith will never return. You have lost.
Windu raises his saber. Just when he's going to kill the Sith, Anakin interferes. Anakin sprints into the fray, voice ringing out over the storm of electricity.
Stop, Master. The Senate's will comes first.
Mace's blade froze inches from Palpatine's neck. In that suspended heartbeat, clone troopers appeared at the threshold. Clone captains bearing holopads, stamped with the Senate seal and the text of Order 65.
By Senate decree, detain the Chancellor.
Anakin leapt forward to snap magnetic restraints onto the Chancellor's wrists. Palpatine screamed, his final bolt crackling impotently against the cuffs. The clones surged in behind Anakin and Mace with disciplined precision. They secured the chamber and led Palpatine, still thrashing, toward waiting custody pods. Deep beneath the Senate district, the tribunal chamber bristled with silent judgment. Reinforced durasteel sealed it like a tomb. A tense hush lay heavy across the assembled Jedi Council on one side and the Senate Judicial Committee on the other. In the center stood the prisoner's dock. Opening statements began. Padme Amidala rose first, her gown shimmering beneath the lights, but her voice was steel.
He confessed his allegiance to the Sith, on holoprojector and by his own voice. That he plotted in secret as our Chancellor, not for the Republic, but to sow death. He stood in this seat under falsehood and betrayed everything we swore to. Do you want to let him go like that? Let him escape without paying the price?
Does anyone here want that? I cannot believe they do.
Let his fate reflect the gravity of his crimes. The Republic demands justice.
Next came Mace Windu, cobalt blade extinguished at his belt, his voice cold as night.
He executed Jedi Masters. Cece, Ajen, Kit. They lay dead by his blade in their own conviction. This was not combat. It was slaughter. If we spare him now, we embolden the darkness.
He glared at the empty dock where Palpatine would soon stand. Silence fell again as his words sank in. And then, Palpatine emerged, his chains discreetly intertwined with his regal robes. He nodded serenely at the council, eyes glinting with mock pity.
You betray me, yet act as though you serve the greater good. But what is the Republic without strength, without structure, without me? I brought order out of chaos, peace out of rebellions. You would see it crumble.
He paused, lifting a slender hand.
I ask you, would you trade a single senator's life for the blood of billions? Am I not more essential than any of you?
Some senators flinched, others glared back defiantly. Across the bench, hawkish voices rang out.
He murdered Jedi Masters. He must answer with his life. Mercy, at least. Let exile be the sentence. Execution would fracture the Senate irreparably.
We cannot build a new republic on the illusion of mercy. He chose war, betrayal, death. Mercy now is weakness.
A stalemate of voices clashed. Pledges of unity, warnings of civil war, emotion warring with reason. Mon Mothma's hand hovered over the votecaster, trembling, resolute. History waited on her touch.
Senators, cast your decision.
Panels lit up across the dais. Lights flickered red, then green. A digital counter rose, and finally blinked.
Motion carries. Death penalty by a narrow majority.
A single, terrible moment of silence. Then Padme let out a breath she did not realize she'd been holding. At the instant the verdict was announced, Palpatine's expression turned vicious. He brought a trembling hand to the concealed holotransmitter at his belt. His mind racing, thoughts nearly spilling forth, but contained.
Fools. They think democracy gives them power. I hold the ultimate key. The inhibitor chips will still obey me. The voice of the Sith, encoded long before this war began. So be it. Justice.
A barely perceptible pulse from his wrist, encrypted and voice secured, activated the override. Their loyalty is chemically absolute.
Execute Order 66.
The command dropped like a bomb. Clone guards stationed along the Senate docks and upper galleries stiffened. A silent click echoed from their helmets as they received the directive. Without hesitation, they raised their rifles. The blaster bolts tore into the benches near the eastern tier. One Jedi Knight went down instantly. Another dove, igniting their saber just in time to deflect the next barrage. Screams erupted as marble shattered. Senators ducked, some fleeing, others frozen in shock. Jedi Masters already assembled in the Great Hall reacted swiftly. Master Plo Koon and Ki-Adi-Mundi leapt from their positions, sabers flaring as they shielded a group of panicked aides. Master Unduli spun, using the Force to hurl an overturned bench as cover. Mace Windu shouted above the cacophony.
Defensive stance! Protect the judiciary!
More clones poured in from auxiliary doors, loyal to Palpatine, firing indiscriminately at the Jedi. Only those senators who drew weapons or tried to intervene were caught in the chaos. Bail Organa ducked as a bolt scorched past his head. Padme grabbed him, dragging both him and Senator Huel behind the main dais.
Get down! Don't draw attention. Just move.
The air reeked of ozone and scorched stone. Holoscreens flickered and glitched from stray shots. The Grand Senate Chamber, once the heart of the Republic, had become a war zone. And then, through the blaster smoke, Anakin Skywalker charged into the center, his lightsaber already lit, his voice cracking across the dome.
Hold your fire! Order 65 is in effect! Order 66 is treason!
He thrust a shimmering blue holoprojection between himself and the clone lines. It displayed a line vote, Senate authorization, the emergency override, Order 65, the official override to remove a rogue Chancellor. Stunned silence rippled through the ranks. Some clones faltered. Rifles hovered, uncertain. Mace Windu, blood streaking down one arm, pointed at the commanding clone officer.
You are soldiers of the Republic. Your authority comes from the Senate, not him. Stand down.
Commander Fox hesitated. His finger tightened on the trigger, then wavered. Other clone units glanced at one another, gears turning behind blank visors. Their programming buckled, Palpatine's embedded control clashing with constitutional loyalty to the Senate. A few lowered their weapons. Others didn't. A second squad breached the western arc, unaware of the override. They opened fire. Jedi Masters responded instantly. Sabers spun in arcs of light and defense. Chaos resumed, but now fractured. Some clones turned on their own. Others stood frozen, confused. The chain of command was broken.
Wait!
A heavy quiet fell. Blaster bolts ceased midair. Twin echoes of red and green lights flickered as some troops lowered their weapons. Loyal units pivoted, turning toward the rogue comrades in confusion. Amid the hush, Anakin punched in a final override on his wristcom.
Execute Senate Protocol Omega. Restore Order 65 with full compliance.
In obedient response, loyal clone units surrounded renegades, their rifles raised. The conflict's tide had turned. Palpatine sprinted down the dim corridor, robes torn, belt scorched, but his presence in the Force still monstrous. Conduits sparked above him, casting strobing flashes across his snarling face. Behind him, Anakin's footsteps pounded closer. Palpatine seized a protruding conduit, hurling it toward Anakin with furious strength. Anakin ducked, deflecting sparks with his lightsaber. Palpatine whirled, eyes alight with dark mirth.
You cannot stop me, Skywalker. Not this time.
I can, and I will.
You fool. You think this Republic will praise you for your loyalty. They will cast you aside just as they did to Dooku. Just as they did to me.
Anakin rounded the corner, blue saber igniting with a snap hiss. His jaw was set, eyes burning with fury, but not hate.
No. Dooku was right. Everyone was, except you. They didn't betray you, Sidious. You betrayed them. Every soul who trusted you.
Palpatine turned sharply, flinging a durasteel beam with a flick of the Force. Anakin deflected it, sliding under the impact as he charged. Their blades met in a flash, red against blue, sparking off the walls, illuminating the narrow corridor in bursts of fury.
I offered you salvation, power over death. You could have saved her. Padme would have lived.
Anakin's guard faltered for a second. His saber dipped, then came back with renewed strength.
No more lies. You were never going to save her. You used her death as your leash.
He drove Palpatine back with a flurry of strikes. The Sith spun, snarling, lightning arcing from his fingers. Anakin crossed his blade, catching the storm. Teeth clenched as the Force burned through his arms.
You are nothing without me. I am the Senate. I am the Republic.
You're a parasite on its corpse.
He pushed forward, lightning cascading around him. Palpatine faltered, the blast recoiling as Anakin's will surged, daunting, unshaken. With a roar, Anakin slammed his saber down and shattered the lightning in a cascade of white-blue energy. Sparks flew, smoke rose. Palpatine coughed, retreating into the darkness of a ruined communications room. Holoscreens flickered as he backed into the center, blood running from his temple.
You were meant to inherit it all. The chosen one. My heir.
I was meant to destroy the Sith. I see that now.
Palpatine grinned, broken teeth glimmering.
Then do it. Kill me. Join every other Jedi who thought of themselves as executioners. You'll be no better.
Anakin stood over him, saber humming inches from the Chancellor's throat. He looked down, eyes filled with rage, but not pain.
No. I won't kill you out of anger. I'm not your weapon. I won't be your enforcer. I'll be the Jedi the Republic deserves.
Palpatine suddenly lunged, screeching, pulling a concealed saber from his sleeve and swinging upward. But Anakin was ready. He sidestepped and struck with a single perfect arc. The blade cleaved through Palpatine's chest, ending at his shoulder. The Sith Lord gasped, then collapsed backward, eyes wide, unblinking. Darth Sidious, Chancellor Palpatine, was dead. Silence fell in the corridor, broken only by the flickering of sparking consoles. Anakin stood over the body, breathing hard. He deactivated his saber and dropped to one knee, pressing a palm to the floor. Not in grief, not in anger, in clarity. Behind him, clone troopers arrived, weapons lowered. Mace Windu limped forward, flanked by Jedi survivors. Mace looked down at the fallen Sith, then to Anakin.
You did what had to be done.
Anakin rose. His voice was quiet, but resolute.
No. I did what the Republic needed. It's time we rebuild. No more darkness. No more secrets.
Padme appeared at the corridor's edge, eyes shimmering with tears. She saw the blade marks on Anakin's tunic, the burn across his chest, and the light that had returned to his eyes. They embraced silently, holding each other amid the wreckage. The Sith were gone. The Republic had survived, and Anakin Skywalker had fulfilled his destiny. Not as a tyrant's heir, but as a Jedi. Weeks passed. The wounds of the coup and the Chancellor's treason ran deep, but healing had begun. The Senate reconvened in full, this time under no shadows, no secrets. Emergency lighting had been replaced with natural sunlight filtered through open skylights. A deliberate change. Padme Amidala, standing before a galaxy-wide holofeed, addressed both allies and former adversaries.
We abolish clandestine contingency codes. The Republic answers to its people, not to fear, not to conspiracies.
The crowd stood in applause. Not thunderous, but firm, united. Bail Organa and Mon Mothma led the push to enshrine the Skywalker amendments, a suite of reforms that banned secret executive orders, reinstated civilian control of the military, and mandated transparent oversight of Jedi activity. The amendments passed with broad support. Some senators who once feared reform now clung to it like a lifeline. At the Jedi Temple, repair crews cleared rubble from the upper levels. The council met in quiet reflection. Anakin Skywalker was offered a new role, Senate Liaison, the first Jedi in generations to formally bridge both institutions. Some masters hesitated. Whispers echoed through the corridors, but Yoda and Obi-Wan stood in support.
Walk both paths, he must. Balance, not dominance, brings peace.
The Jedi adopt a new mandate, not as generals, but as mediators, protectors, peacemakers. War had taught them caution, and the Republic had reminded them of their purpose. Naboo, under a sky finally clear of warships, Anakin and Padme walked along the lakeside. No disguises, no secrecy. Their hands clasped. The morning mist curled along the water's edge as they paused to watch the rising sun. Fields of blossoms sway in the breeze, and distant birds cried overhead. They had sacrificed everything to preserve the light, and now the galaxy was free. A blade reforged, a lie undone. A war ended not by conquest, but by courage. The Republic had not fallen. It had chosen to stand. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you'd like to join us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.